Hey everyone, welcome back to the second session of Power BI. So in the previous video we have already learned about what is Power BI and why it is needed, the various features of Power BI, the different components of Power BI, what is business intelligence, and the complete architecture of Power BI, right? If you have not watched that video, I request you please watch that video first because this is the continuation of previous one. Alright, and I have already given the link of the video in the description below, so you can easily watch that. Okay, so today in this video we are going to learn about what is Power BI Desktop, how we will install it in our PC, and the entire overview of Power BI Desktop. Alright, and instead of that we will also see how we will extract the data from different sources like CSV, Excel, different databases, etc. and modify it. After that we will see how to load that modified data, and at the end we will get to know how to create a report from that modified data and share it with others. Okay, so let's start today's agenda without wasting time.
Today is class 2, guys. This is the class 2 continuation of class 1. So in today's class, instead of talking the things in theoretical way, let's start practicals. First we will try to install Power BI Desktop and we will start the work practically. So let me show how to install Power BI Desktop software today. First software where we will start our development is in Power BI Desktop. Where we will start our development, guys? In Power BI Desktop. So if you want to start a development in Power BI Desktop, we need to install it, right? Let's start installing the Power BI Desktop software. So to install Power BI Desktop software, first I need to download it. First thing we are going to discuss today is installing Power BI Desktop software. Installing Power BI Desktop software. I want to go and install the Power BI Desktop software, and once after installing the Power BI Desktop software, the second thing we'll understand for today is we'll understand about the Power Query software. There is a Power Query software. We'll try to understand about this Power Query software. Power Query overview. So this Power BI Desktop contains 3 softwares. Power BI Desktop contains 3 softwares. Power Query, you need to clearly understand what we will do in Power Query. We will do ETL, how we will do that, we need to understand. So we'll have a high level understanding. Then Power Pivot. What is Power Pivot? What we will do in Power Pivot, we'll discuss. Then what is Power View? What we will do in Power View, we'll discuss. Then what is Power BI Service? What we will do in Power BI Service, we'll discuss. Step by step, we'll discuss, guys. Step by step, we'll discuss. For today's class, the agenda is, just 1 second. Fine. Now let's start with installing the Power BI Desktop. Once we install the Power BI Desktop, we need to understand about Power Query. So let's start installing Power BI Desktop. To install Power BI Desktop, we need to download it, right? We need to go and download it. Let's do that now. Installing Power BI Desktop software. To install Power BI Desktop software, first we need to download it. So let's see where to download the Power BI Desktop software. Open any web browser, either Chrome or either Microsoft Edge or any web browser, and open the search engine Google. Open the search engine and search for Power BI Desktop software download. Power BI Desktop software download. So press enter. So when you search for these keywords, Power BI Desktop software download, you'll get a link. download Microsoft Power BI. Right click on it, open the link. When you open the link, you'll see the software here. Look at this. I want to download the Power BI desktop software. For now, concentrate only on this Power BI desktop. We'll talk about remaining things. What is gateway? What is mobile? All this will come. For now, I need to install Power BI desktop software. So you want to go to the advanced download options. Don't go to the link called downloads. Go to the link called advanced download options. Click on that link. When you click on this link, it will open that page in a new page. It will open that link in a new page. When you scroll down, you'll see the Microsoft Power BI desktop software here. Microsoft Power BI desktop. Choose the language and click on download. Choose the language, click on download. When you click on download, it is giving the two set of files to you. Two software files it is giving. One software file it is giving is 64-bit software. Second software file it is giving is 32-bit software. Which one I need to download? So fine, before we download it, let me explain one thing here. Prerequisites. Prerequisites to install Power BI desktop software. Power BI desktop software. So if you want to install Power BI desktop, so I have a laptop or I have a desktop in my home. I want to install the Power BI desktop software in it. When you want to install the Power BI desktop software in your laptop, or if you want to install the Power BI desktop software in your desktop, what I need to do? What I need to do? So what are the prerequisites? What my laptop needs to have? Prerequisites are nothing but before we installing Power BI desktop, what are the things I required in my laptop or in my desktop? So let me write them. So first prerequisite is operating system. In your laptop, you need to have the operating system, OS. So what OS you need to have in your laptop is Power BI will support only for Windows OS. Power BI will support which operating system, guys? Windows OS. So 7 or later. So Windows 7 or later OS. Any OS is fine. So Windows 7 or Windows 8 or Windows 10 operating system you need to have. So at the time of installing the OS in our laptops, sometimes we will install OS is also one software which will act as a bridge between hardware and software. So if when you are installing the OS, what you will do? So sometimes you will install 32-bit OS, and sometimes you will install 64-bit OS, 64-bit OS. So people who have old laptop, so they will have old hardware. So those people will try to install 32-bit OS in their laptop. So who bought the laptop these days? They will install the 64-bit OS. So most of the laptops will have 64-bit OS only. So might be there are some laptops who will install 32-bit OS also, right? So in your laptop, if you have 32-bit OS, it will support only Power BI desktop 32-bit version, Power BI desktop 32-bit software. You need to install only Power BI desktop 32-bit software. It will not allow to install 64-bit. If your laptop contains 64-bit OS, it can support Power BI 32-bit software, and it can even support Power BI desktop 64-bit software. Both the softwares will support, but recommended is installing the 64-bit software. When your OS is a 64-bit OS, this is the recommended. So just options point of view, you will not find any difference. Either 64-bit OS or 32-bit OS, options point of view, you don't find any difference. Same. Only difference where you can find is performance. 64-bit softwares will perform better when compared to 32-bit softwares. So in my laptop, I have operating system Windows 10, yes, and it is a 64-bit OS. So which software I need to download? I need to download Power BI Desktop 64-bit software. So select this, click on next. If you have, so it is not possible to install Power BI Desktop in Mac it is not possible to install Power BI Desktop in Linux or Unix or Ubuntu. It is not possible to install in other OS. You need to have the Windows OS loaded in your laptop, then only you can install it. And check what version of OS you installed. So 64-bit version or 32-bit version. If it is a 32-bit version, download 32-bit software. It's a 64-bit version, recommended is 64-bit. Let me download it. Select this, click on next. So it will start downloading, guys. So once it got downloaded, so it is downloading, let it download. So it doesn't take much time. So let it download in the backend. Once it downloaded, I'll start installing. So before let it download in the backend, and let me explain other prerequisites. First prerequisite is operating system. The second prerequisite is in your laptop, you need to have the .NET framework software. So basically, in the laptops, already .NET framework software will be there. 90% of the cases, .NET framework software will be there in our laptops. The second prerequisite is .NET framework software. So .NET framework software, which one you need? So 4.7 or later version. 4.7 or later version of that .NET framework software you need to have in your PC. Yes, you can install in PC also. This is applicable for PC also. It is not only for laptop. You can even install in your local PC also. .NET framework software 4.7 or later version should be there in your laptop or desktop. So mostly this software is also available in our laptops. The third prerequisite is, so you need to have Internet Explorer software. Internet Explorer IE. In short, we call it as IE, Internet Explorer software 9 or later version. Oh God, 9 or later version. You need to have Internet Explorer software 9 or later version of the softwares. Later version. So if you have these three softwares available in your laptop, so you can install Power BI Desktop comfortably. If any one of these software is not available, it is not possible to install a Power BI Desktop software in your laptop. I'm telling again, these three softwares, most of the laptops or desktops, they will be preloaded. Already they will be available. IE. So this is Internet Explorer software. So already we'll be having it. .NET framework software also already will be installed, and operating system. Most of the people will use these operating systems only. So rarely the softwares will not be available in your laptops or desktops. If these softwares are not available, it is not possible to install Power BI Desktop. Fine, guys. So I have all the three prerequisites in my laptop. These are the software prerequisites. When it comes to hardware, so RAM, recommended RAM is 4 GB or greater than 4 GB. So if you have 4 GB RAM, that is sufficient. So 4 GB or greater. So good to have. Minimum is 4 GB. So when you have more than 4 GB, when you are working with Power BI, you can complete the work quickly, right? So then hard disk, any hard disk is fine, guys. It will not occupy much space. What is the hard disk? You have 160 GB or 320 GB or 500 GB, any hard disk is fine. So this is the software prerequisites, and this is the hardware prerequisite. Fine. We even downloaded the software. I even have all the softwares available in my laptop, and now I will go and explain how to install the software. So once you downloaded, you can go to the downloads folder and you can see the software here. Look at this. I downloaded this software, Power BI Desktop software. So I already downloaded one time in the long back. So that is the reason it is showing in the bracket 1. In the bracket it is showing as 1. So already there is one more software downloaded. So you'll see Power BI Desktop 64-bit software. How to install it is double click on the software, it will start installing. Look at this, it will start installing. Installing the Power BI Desktop is a straightforward installation. Even a kid can install it. No configuration required. Even a kid can install it. Choose the language in which you want the software to install and click on next. Do you want to make the changes to your system? Click on yes. And so it will open a setup wizard. Click on next to continue. So if you want to start the setup process, installation process, click on next. Accept the licensing terms and conditions. And one more thing I want to tell here, Power BI Desktop is a free software. Power BI Desktop is a free software where companies can use it for free of cost, where individual can use it for free of cost, where a student can use it for free of cost. You don't want to pay any money to the Microsoft when you use Power BI Desktop software. Power BI Desktop software is a completely free software. Microsoft is not charging any money when you are using Power BI Desktop software. They're not charging single rupee also. So only you will pay to this admin related softwares. For this development stuff, you don't want to pay anything to Microsoft. Fine. So now accept the licensing terms and conditions. Click on next. And it is installing in a default path in the C drive. If you want to change the path, you can change it. You can browse, you can change the path. I don't want to change the path. Let's have it as it is. Click on next. So after installing the desktop software, after installing this, do you want to create a shortcut? So if you see here, there is a shortcut for Edge, Microsoft Edge, Chrome, GoToMeeting, DAX Studio. So do you have some shortcuts? Same way Power BI shortcut. When I have the shortcut in the desktop, accessing the software is easy. Opening the software is easy. So do you want to create a shortcut in the desktop? If you want, keep this checkbox. If you don't want it, uncheck this. Yes, let it create a shortcut somewhere. Click on install. So it doesn't take much time. Hardly it will take 1 or 2 minutes of time. It is installing the software. Hardly it will take 1 or 2 minutes of time. Let it install. Fine, successful guys. Setup is successful. The installation setup is successful. So do you want to open the software or do you want to launch the software? It is asking. So when you click on finish, automatically software will open. I don't want to open the software by my tool. So when you click on finish, it will open the software automatically. It will launch the software. Uncheck this and click on finish. I'll open the software myself. I'll open the software myself. Success guys. We installed the Power BI Desktop and we got a shortcut here. So no configuration required to install the Power BI Desktop software. I request everyone, please install the software today itself. So who have Mac, you want to go with virtual machine in your Mac, and then in the VM, you want to have Windows operating system. In that VM, you need to install this Power BI. Directly in the Mac, you don't have an option. So who have Windows operating systems, you are good to install. So downloading the software, and there is no much prerequisites. This will be available in your laptops mostly, and you can download it, you can install it. And again, installing the Power BI Desktop is a straightforward installation. No configuration required. No configuration required. Fine guys, we've seen how to download the software, how to install the Power BI Desktop software. I'm able to see comfortably this Power BI Desktop software. Now we'll start doing the things practically now. So first thing, Power BI Desktop is a development software where we can do the development work like preparing the data. ETL is nothing but preparing the data. Power Pivot, OLAP is nothing but modeling the data. Power View is nothing but visualizing the data. What is the definition for Power BI Desktop is? We're going to start working on Power BI Desktop software. The definition of Power BI Desktop software is, Power BI Desktop is a development software development software which is used for preparing the data, comma, modeling the data, and Power BI Desktop is a development software which is used for preparing the data, modeling the data. Yes. Yes. Request everyone, please be on mute. Preparing the data, modeling the data, and visualizing the data. Visualizing the data. If someone is asking what is Power BI Desktop, you need to answer that Power BI Desktop is a development software in Power BI which is used for preparing the data, modeling the data, and visualizing the data. Preparing the data can be done in Power Query. Modeling the data can be done in Power Pivot, and visualizing the data can be done in Power View. Fine. So, fine. This is the development software. We want to understand about this development software. So we know that this software will contain 3 parts: Power Query for preparing the data or doing ETL, Power Pivot for modeling the data or creating a OLAP model, Power View for creating the visuals or visualizing the data. Fine guys, let's start with Power Query first. In this Power BI Desktop, we understand what we will do in Power BI Desktop. Let's start with what we can do in Power Query. To explain what we can do in Power Query, just let's start with overview of Power Query. So we'll try to understand what we can do with Power Query at a high level. Just start with it. So Power Query, what we can do with Power Query is a ETL software. So if you ask me, I'll write definition of Power Query like this. Power Query is a ETL software in Power BI Power Query is a ETL software in Power BI which is used for performing the ETL activities, or data preparation activities. You can call it like this, guys. Data preparation we can perform data preparation activities. So Power Query is an ETL software in Power BI, and this Power Query software is used for performing the data preparation activities. So sometimes when client is providing the data, in the data sources, the data will be in one format, and the same data client will be expecting to see in the reports in another format. They will be expecting in another format. So when the client is expecting to see the data in a different format than source format, you want to prepare the data. Let's see how to prepare the data. Now into the Power Query, first you need to connect to all the data sources. You need to extract the data. You need to transform the data. You need to load the data to the Power Pivot. So this is the first work I need to start. Let's do that now. So first let me show you how to open Power Query software. We understand what we will do with Power Query. A data preparation activities. Sometimes we need to prepare the data, how we want to show in the reports and visuals. The data preparation can be done in Power Query. So let me do that. So how to open Power Query, I'll explain. First, let me open Power BI Desktop. To open Power BI Desktop, go to the Power BI Desktop. So in your desktop, you got a shortcut here. Double click on the shortcut. It will open the software. Just double click on it. It is opening the software. Let it open. So it got open the software. Once it open the software, you will be seeing the start screen, guys. So this is the welcome screen, and we can even call it a start screen. So you will be seeing the start screen. In the start screen, we're not going to develop anything. So in the start screen, so in the right hand side, you will access some help related documents. So what's new in Power BI? You can access some blogs. You can access some forums. You can access some tutorials. Here, when you click on any link, it will open some help document. Look at this. Some self-paced learning. So Microsoft prepared a lot of documents related to Power BI. You can access that help related documents here, forums, blogs, this. And in the middle section, you can sign in. If you want to sign into Power BI, you can sign in. Why you need to sign into Power BI? I'll discuss in coming class. So second class or third class. You can sign in from here. If you have an account, you can sign in, or if you don't have an account, you can create an account. So why you need to sign in? I'll discuss. You need to sign in to publish your report to Power BI service from desktop. If you want to move your report to Power BI service, you need to sign in first. So you'll understand what is this sign in, why we need it. And once you signed in here, you can even sign in from here, and you can close this window. Once you close it, you can see on the top sign in button. You can even sign in from here. Anything is fine. And in the Power BI desktop, in the left hand side, you'll have an options called getting the data, get data. You can even find it here. Recent sources, you can even find recent sources here. Fine guys, frankly to speak, this welcome screen or start screen, we're not going to develop anything. Just you can close this start screen. We're not going to develop anything, just close it. So once you close it, you will be landing in the report view of Power BI desktop. When you look at here, in Power BI desktop, we have three different views. One is report view, second one is data view, third one is model view. So by default, when you log in, when you open Power BI desktop, you will be in the report view. This is report view, this is data view, this is model view. I'll talk about them. For now, when you open Power BI desktop, you'll be getting to report view. So by default, when you open Power BI desktop, you'll see the by default we will land in a report view. Just simple guys. When you open the Power BI desktop for the first time, I'm telling that. So every day when you open the Power BI desktop to work on it, you'll be landing in the report view. Fine. So now I know that Power BI desktop software is combination of three softwares. Power BI desktop contains Power Query. So Power Query is there in this software, and Power Pivot is also there in this software, and Power View is also there in the software. We need to be very clear, where do we have Power Query software? Where do we have Power Pivot software? Where do we have Power View software? And what we will do in Power Query, what we will do in Power Pivot, what we will do in Power View, we need to try to understand guys. So for now, let's start understanding about the Power Query. How to open Power Query software, how to work with Power Query software, I'll show now. To open Power Query software, go to the Home tab and click on Transform Data. How to open Power Query software is, so when you hover on here, you are seeing a message. It will open Power Query software where you can connect to the data, where you can prepare the data, where you can transform the data. It is telling that when you click on that button, it will open Power Query where you can connect to the data, where you can bring the data, where you can prepare the data, where you can transform the data, and where you can load the data. To open Power Query software, what I need to do is, I need to go to the Home tab. I need to click on Transform Data button. Let me do that now. Go to the Home tab, click on Transform Data. So when you click on Transform Data, it will open Power Query software. To open Power Query software, go to Home tab and click on Transform Data. Let me do that. When I click on Transform Data, it is opening a new interface called Power Query Editor User Interface. If you look at here, guys, previously I'm here. So previously I'm here. When I click on this, it will open a new interface. Previously, this interface is not there. Let me close this interface. Look at this. Previously, I have only one interface. No two windows here, one window. If you want to open a Power Query software, you need to go to Home tab, click on Transform Data. As soon as you click on Transform Data, it will open a new interface, Power Query user interface. Let me show here. When I click on Transform Data, look at this. This is interface 1. When you open, you will get it by default. So when you click on Transform Data, this interface is opening. So this is Power Query Editor user interface. I'll talk about it now. Fine. So you got a Power Query Editor user interface. Previously, I'm here. To open Power Query software, I'm going to Home tab, click on Transform Data. It will open an interface called Power Query Editor interface. As soon as you click on Transform Data, it will open an interface called Power Query Editor user interface. Fine. So in short, user interface, you call it as UI. So what that UI will contains is this Power Query Editor user interface will contains hundreds of graphical user interface options, hundreds of graphical user interface options, GUI options. We call them as GUI, means graphical user interface options. Graphical user interface options. Hundreds you will have, guys, not one or two. So this, using this GUI options, we will perform the ETL activities. When you look at here, this Power Query Editor will contain a lot of tabs: Home tab, Transform tab, Add column tab, View tab, Tools tab, Help tab. And when you go to each tab, so you are seeing a lot of GUI options here. Why they are grayed out is, you want to bring some tables. First, when you bring some tables to Power Query, then all the options will be enabled. Let me explain, guys. As soon as you go to the data sources, once you bring the tables to the Power Query, then all the options will be enabled. But overall, the Power Query Editor will contain hundreds of GUI options. So this one is one GUI option, another GUI option, another GUI option, conditional column is another GUI option, merge columns is another GUI option. Like this, lot of GUI options are available in the software. Fine. With the help of the GUI options, we'll perform ETL activities. With the help of the GUI options, what you are going to perform, guys? You are going to perform ETL activities or data preparation activities. Both are same. ETL, another name for ETL is data preparation activities. So 95% of ETL work can be done with the GUI options itself. So point and click. You don't want to write single line of code. If you can know how to utilize the GUI options which are there in the Power Query Editor, you can do all the ETL activities. You can perform all the data preparation activities. All the data preparation activities. Fine, guys. Let's continue. Fine. So we open Power Query. I need to start my ETL work here. So ETL stands for extract, transform, load. Extract, transform, load. Extract, transform, and load. I want to talk about extract, transform, and load. So first one in any ETL tool is extracting the data. Second one is transforming the data. Third one is loading the data. Fine. So you want to understand. So I joined in a company called ABC Company. ABC Company, I joined as a Power BI developer. That ABC Company is doing some business and they're getting some business data and they're storing that business data in Excel files. Some business data is there in Excel files. Some business data they're storing in SQL Server. They're asking to create the reports on both the data. These two data together, they're asking to show in reports and visuals. Excel data and database data together, they're asking to show in the reports and visuals. When you want to show both the data in the reports and visuals, how can I show it? When you want to show both the data in the reports and visuals, yes, you can connect, guys. So if you want to connect, I'll show you. I want to bring the data from here. First, I want to connect to my data sources. I want to bring the data into the Power Query. And then once after extracting the data, I need to transform the data. I need to load the data. Let's do that. So we know that when client is giving some data sources, don't create the reports directly onto data sources. First, bring them and prepare a OLAP model. To bring the data and to prepare a OLAP model, you need to use Power Query. open Power Query software, connect to Excel file, bring the data what you need for analysis. Connect to SQL Server, bring the data from what you need for analysis. So someone is asking, can we connect to big data? From Power Query, you can connect to almost any kind of data source. Almost any kind of data source. You can bring the data from them, and once after bringing the data, prepare the data how you want, transform the data how you want. So how you want to show the data in the reports into that format, transform the data, and the transformed data load into the Power Pivot. Let's do that now. So we already opened Power Query software. So to bring the data, the GUI option you need to use is new source, guys. For bringing the data into the Power Query, for extracting the data, we need to use new source GUI option. Everything, either you need to extract the data, you need to use GUI options. Either you need to transform the data, you need to use GUI options. Either you need to load the data, you need to use GUI options. To extract the data into Power Query, extract the data into Power Query, use new source. There is an option called new source GUI option. Use new source GUI option. Use new source GUI option. GUI option. So let's see how to connect to the data sources, how to bring the data into Power Query using this new source. I'll show you here. So let me click on new source. So when I click on new source here, you are seeing what are the different data sources I can connect from Power BI. From Power BI, I can connect to almost. So what are the widely connecting sources you are seeing here? I want to bring the data into the Power Query from Oracle database. From Oracle database, I want to bring the data. Are you seeing Oracle here? No. Where you can get Oracle is, there is an option called more. So click on more. So when I click on more, you will see list of data sources from where we can bring the data. So when you go here, there is hundreds of data sources you can find. Lot 1 or 2. Look at this. So hundreds of data sources you can find it here. So there are big data related sources, Spark. So if you see Spark, so Spark is a big data related source. Almost you can connect to any kind of data source. It is not limited, guys. So you can see hundreds of connectors here. Using these connectors, you can bring the data from almost any kind of data source. For now, my company is storing the business data in Excel file, some other business data in SQL Server. I need to connect them. I need to bring the data to the Power Query. Let's do that now. To connect to the data sources, to bring the data, I said that we need to click on new source. If your source is available in this list, don't click on more. Directly choose your source. If your source is not available in this list, just click on more. You can see all sort of different data sources from where I can bring the data. From where I can bring the data. You can use the source from where you, so I can bring the data from any database like SQL Server, Oracle, DB2. I can bring it from SAP HANA, Teradata, Sybase, almost any kind of data source, we can bring the data. Fine. For now, first I want to go to an Excel file. I want to bring the tables which I need for analysis. I want to go to SQL Server. I want to bring the tables which I need for analysis. For that, what I need to do is click on new source. First, I want to bring the data from Excel. Click on Excel. Tell where your Excel file is located. Browse the Excel file location, file path. What you need to do, guys? You need to give the file path and name. So my file is there in the desktop, and in the desktop I have a desktop backup folder, and in the desktop backup folder I have source files. In the source files I have a Excel file with the name sample superstore. I want to bring the tables from this Excel file. Select this Excel file, click on open. When you click on open, look at this. It will open all the tables in the Excel file. Look at this. When you go here, so desktop backup, source files, sample superstore. When you go to this Excel file, so look at this Excel file. It contains 3 sheets in it: orders table, returns table, and people's table. 3 tables are there here. So when you connect to the Excel in the desk Power BI, so see, let me cancel. Let me do it again. So just I'm going to Power Query, click on new source. I'm selecting what? Excel. Click on Excel, browse where the Excel file is located, desktop backup, source file, sample superstore. Click on open. You will see the list of tables in that Excel. This contains 3 tables in it: orders table, returns table, and people's table. So Power Query also showing the 3 tables. Select what tables you need for analysis. Select what tables you need for analysis. Press OK. When you press OK, the 3 tables will come to Power Query. Fine. So now I went to Power Query Excel. I bought the tables which I need for analysis. I not only need to perform analysis on only Excel data, I need to even perform the analysis on SQL Server data also. I need to go to SQL Server. I need to bring the data into the Power Query. How can I go to the SQL Server? How can I bring the data into the Power Queries? Click on New Source. This time my source is SQL Server, guys. It's not Excel. It is SQL Server. Click on SQL Server and provide the server name and database name. So based on data source you are connecting. So when you connect to Excel, it is asking the file path. So when you connect to database, it is asking the server name and database name. When you want to connect to a website, you want to give the web URL. Based on the data source you want to connect, the UI will change. This time I want to connect to a database, SQL Server database. Click on SQL Server. You want to give the server name and database name from where you want to bring the tables. I want to bring the tables. Who will provide the server names and database names is when you join as a Power BI developer, clients will provide. You don't want to bother about it. Clients will provide you. Now I have a server name here. My clients already provided me the server name. Let me use that server name and database name. So my clients already provided the server names. I'll use this server name. Go here, provide the server name, and you want to give the database name. But in the database name, you are seeing optional. Basically, one SQL Server software will contain multiple databases in it. Database 1, database 2, database 3. Like this, multiple databases will be there in a single server, guys. A single server, multiple databases will be there. When you give the database, it will open the database directly. When you just press OK, it will show list of servers in the database. When you see here, my database contains 5 different my server. This is the server software. This is the server. And in this server, I have 5 databases. You are seeing all the 5 databases. AdventureWorks is one database I have. And second database I have is AdventureWorks Data Warehouse. And when you go and expand any database, you will see the database objects like views, tables. 1 or 2 database objects are there. So I want to perform the analysis on product database. I have a product database. In product database, I have 4 tables: customer table, product table, sales table, I have and time table. I want to perform the analysis on only these 3 tables data. You want to select only these 3 tables and you want to press OK. Let me select which tables I want to perform analysis: customer data table, product data table, and sales data table. Press OK. When you press OK, the 3 tables will come to Power Query. Like this, when you join in any company, might be they will even give 10 different data sources also. No worries. Let them give 10 different data sources also. You want to go to each data source. You want to bring the tables into the Power Query. You want to go to each data source. You want to bring the tables which you need for analysis. You need to extract the data by connecting to data sources. Extracting the data is a matter of 10 minutes, guys. It's a matter of 10 minutes. And loading the data, it's a matter of 2-3 minutes. And the major thing is transforming the data. In any ETL software, transforming the data is the major thing. Fine. So as my client is provided the data from, so you can go here, go to the view, there is query dependencies. So when you go here, let's look at this. So my client provided 2 different data sources to me. One is Excel. In the Excel, I have orders table, people's table, and returns table. I brought them. Another source they given is SQL Server database. From there are 3 tables. They asked me to analyze these tables together. So I connected to two different data sources. I brought the tables into my Power Query. Once the tables are there in the Power Query, you need to go to each table and you need to start transforming the data. So for now, I explain how to connect to an Excel file from Power Query software, how to bring the tables into the Power Query, how to connect to SQL Server, how to bring the tables into the Power Query. Next, we want to understand how to transform the data in the Power Query. So transforming the data will take time. So tomorrow's complete class, I'll discuss how to transform the data and how to load the data. Today I explain how to extract the data into the Power Query. So remaining two parts, transformation will take time. Now I am not able to complete it. And how to transform the data, I'll discuss tomorrow, how to load the data. I request today, you people just install the Power BI desktop software, download it, install it. And once after doing that, open the Power BI desktop software and open Power Query. Once after opening the Power BI desktop software, you can go to the home tab, click on transform data. It will open Power Query and come to the Power Query using new source. At least connect to any Excel file. You might have any sample Excel files with you, right? At least try to connect to any Excel file or bring some data to the Power Query. So we will see how to install the databases, how to get the tables. We'll understand. For now, do this. Tomorrow I'll explain how to transform the data in the Power Query, how to load the data in the Power Query. So from Power Query, how to load the data from Power Query to PowerPoint. So everything in the Power Query can be done with the GUI options only, guys. You don't want to write much code. You don't want to write much code. Fine. So let me stop here.